So, good morning, everyone. dTris 2024 training on dTris 3 this year. We will be going over sort of all of the different parts of the new dTris 3, creating a race, adding racers, creating runs, loading in your race participants, live timing, running your race actually on the race screen, and then dumping the results for your RAs or for other systems to use that data. We'll also look at sort of the live timing side and see how to do that. I will be doing a separate quick video for creating races, the different types of races on the live timing site. So that'll be up probably a little bit later this week. But why don't we get started? So let me, if I can find my mouse. So the first place to go to is our site, MEC timing site. From there, if we go down to the bottom, we have both versions. So we have dTris 3 and dTris 2. So dTris 2 is our original product. It's currently in maintenance mode, so we're only doing bug fixes on it, and there are some functionality that is in dTris 2 that is coming to dTris 3. dTris 3 is our brand new from the ground up rebuild of the system, which provides performance and reliability upgrades. So if you don't already have it, you can click on the download to grab the installer. As well, we have a user manual. So this is, I think we're about 60 pages right now. So if you have any questions about any of the functionality, you can review to the user manual or to one of our videos that we have on our YouTube channel. So this one is a little different because I'm running a pre-release version right now that has one or two changes that'll be coming out in the next probably 2 days. And then, so what I'll do is normally when you install, you get a shortcut. So I've created a shortcut for my new version. So to run dTris, you need to have your little USB dongle. One of the big changes for dTris 3 is that it is able to be run in what we call demo mode. So that allows you to run on your computer. So you can run up to 3 groups with a total of 15 racers. So you can play around and see what's going on. From that, we also provide what we call a test timer. So a test timer is actually you use hotkeys on your keyboard to simulate pulses. So you can have, we've set up about 8 different channels that you can run, and you can set up all of your different scenarios so that you can play with it on your computer, and you don't actually need a timer attached to run your race or to run your testing. We specifically put a special sequence of milliseconds at the end so that we can see if it's using the test timer, and it always uses that same millisecond. So you will 99.9% of the time you'll get a round number for each racer's time. So when we have created the race, or we can open up dTris, if you go help, you can say check for updates, and that'll go and download the latest version from our system and automatically apply it. And this also checks once a day automatically to see if there's any changes. So there's no need, once you have it installed on your computer, there's no need to go and download it again. You can just click check for updates and it will automatically download. The other part we have here is we have I'm using the white mode right now, but we also have the ability to have a dark mode depending on how you feel, if you want your eyes blinded in the morning or not. So I'll just stay with the light colors for right now. So you have two options. You can create a new race or you can open an existing race. So I'm going to create a new race. And I will put it on in my dTris. So we have a dTris extension. So I normally just set up my races as current date and then a little bit of information about the race. So 2024, 12, 17. Training race. So now that we've created a race, we have the ability to see all of the different tabs on the side. And what that allows you to do is sort of follow through and see and set up your race. You start from the top and then you work your way down. So we can go to race parameters. So this allows you to pick the discipline, what race type it is, the race name. It also gives you some configuration parameters. So start interval. So there is a countdown beside the race, the racer in gate, and this counts down from whatever this value is down to 0, so that you sort of make sure that your race interval is being met. We have a minimum and maximum time on course. So if a racer is lower than the minimum or higher than the maximum, it'll flag them in the finish, or flag if they're above the maximum while on course, it'll flag them, so that it's a visual notification that something might be wrong on your race. Ignore start pulse. So what this allows you to do is ignore pulses if you have a start wand that flaps in the wind or something to that effect. Once it's opened, it ignores pulses for 5 seconds or whatever you would set, so that you don't get double pulses. And then the same thing for finishes. So this is a pretty good value that we found. So 0.03. If you guys are using parallel printers or serial printers on your computers for dTris output, you can pick which printer it is here. So I'm not going to pick one because I don't have one actually set on my computer, but if you click on the serial or parallel printer that you have connected to your computer, it'll automatically print out the dTris log to that printer as well as to the log file. And then race result method. So this allows you to change whether the race is going to be calculated or sort of run in total time or best of time. Elijah, what do you have a question? No worries. There you go. I increased the screen for you. So then once you've set up that, you have the ability to set up your timer. So for my testing, I'll be using the test, but we can go to, let's say, timey, and you can pick whether you want serial RS-232 or timey USB. So, and this gives you a little bit of information about it. Or if we go to RS-232, it allows you to pick the COM port. It defaults to the baud rate that timey usually uses, but if you have changed it, you can pick whichever one you are using. And if it's been a long time and you don't remember how to set your timey and timer day mode, you can click on this, and we give a little message here to give you some more information about how to set it up and move forward. If some of these don't have it, so I think I haven't been able to find a lot of documentation on the race time, so that one doesn't have it yet. But if you guys are using race time or something to that effect, just let me know and I can fill in the information. But for this one, I'm going to pick timer as test and the connection as test. For the intervals, so we have a start and a finish interval. And if I click on the edit, I can pick that I want the C1 channel to be my start, and I can pick the C2 channel to be my finish. We then have a test timer. So what this allows you to do is once you've set up your timing systems, you've set up your dTris, this allows you just to check to see if everything's working the way you expect it. So I can put a start in. So what this does is it tells me the channel, what we've assigned it within dTris, and then the time of day that it was provided. I can do a finish. And then if I do one that wasn't configured, I get a beep and it just says, hey, this is one that we just don't know what to do with. So please take a look at that. The next one is display. So this allows you to add a display, so you can pick your whichever sort of type you want. So I'll just pick one just to show you. We have 3 buttons here, so you can delete a display, you can edit the display if you've made any changes, and then we have the test display. And what this does is this actually just sends increasing information. So instead of in dTris 2, you had to sort of type in bib1 and the time. In dTris 3, we just click test display and it just every second sends out new data so that you can make your changes and validate that your display is working the way you want. And then you can uncheck or turn it off, and then it'll stop sending data. So I'm just going to delete this for now so that I'm not sending random data to another part of my computer. We have display configuration. So this tells you if you are, once you're on running a race, we will hold the run time for a racer to 5 seconds on the display, and then the total time on run 2 will be shown for 10 seconds. And you can change those to a different value if you'd like. Live timing. So this allows you to use live timing with dTris 3. All you need to do is check this just to make sure that you're sending data correctly to the site, and it makes some modifications to the application just to make sure that we're getting information that we need. And the last addition to display is our lodge display. So this is one of our newer products, and it allows for clubs to put up display boards TVs or monitors and automatically switch. It shows a large format of the race data as a sort of scoreboard format, as well as it automatically switches to whichever codex is being shown on, or whichever codex is being run within dTris. So you have the ability so we can add a lodge display. Once you purchase a lodge display, you get an ID and a password, and then you can name it. You can provide what font size you want, the number of racers you want on the screen at any one time, and then the number of seconds you want to show those racers before it switches to the next X number of racers. The lodge display section of dTris is persistent across all of your races. So you don't have to. So if you add a lodge display to your computer and then you open up a new dTris file, it will still be there. So you don't have to go and add the lodge display every time that you create a new race. So the next part is adding your racers to the race. Elijah? Yes, you can have as unlimited number of lodge displays. Groups and race. So this allows you to create multiple groups that will be sort of housed in the same uh, race file. So normally that is the races that you're doing on that hill on that day. So if you're running like a FIS race, you might have male, female, and forerunners. If you're running just if you're running just female, then you would have females and forerunners, so that you have all of that data present. So if I click load racers, we get a pop-up, and I can say this is going to be woman or women. I can say if this is a forerunner or not. So if you check this, it will propagate through the application. It won't display it on live timing. It won't display the forerunner's times on your display board. So, and it will show on the group that it's a forerunner category. Here is where we get to the codex and password. So what I'll do is I will go over to here. So the live timing site is just live-timing.ca. If you go into admin and go request, so there's 3 different types of races that you can request. You have national races, FIS races, and sort of interclub races. So for national, so that would be a codex that is given from AOA or ACA, and it usually has an NAC or NAT or REC at the front. So you go request national race. You just type in the codex that you were given, the email address that will get the codex and password once it's been generated, and then your run to and run one times in sort of out in 24-hour format. And then it'll create the race on the site, use all of the data that is provided by Alpine Points for names and stuff, and then load it onto the live timing site. For FIS races, you go to request other race, and we have to fill out pretty much all of the information that isn't provided. So you would put in the codex, the race name, the location. If you are running a FIS race and you have set up FIS upload, you can put in the URL and the port and sort of that information. If you have dTris, or the live timing site provides the conduit between your race and the FIS live timing site. So you don't have to change anything on your side as long as you have this information in. Yeah, Larry. Yes. Race date, and then your run to and run times, and then the PSO, club, gender, discipline, and your email. We also have the ability on live timing is that if you're not running a regular total race, you can set it as best of, and that will provide instead of total times, it'll give the best time for each racer. If you are running an interclub race, all you need to type in codex is MEC, and it will automatically generate a codex for you. And that is for whatever race you have that is not a FIS or a provincial. So if you are doing an adult house league or an interclub race, or just a fun race that you have at your hill, you can use mech codexes for those races. So I have set up a test race, so I will put that in here. We can either add racers by bib number or by selecting a racer file. So selecting a racer file, you can use an RCR file or a specifically set up Excel file, and I'll provide links for the Excel file after the meeting. But if I just go into one of my measures test races, and I grab the RCR file, and then I click save, I've got all of the racers' names, categories, PTSO, and club. Vance, you have a question? Sorry, Vance, I can't hear you. Vance, I can't hear you. If you want to type it in the chat, I'm more than happy to answer your question. If there is a racer that isn't there that was added, you can delete them. We can edit all the racers' information if required. If you get a late add, you can click add racer and you can input all of the racers' information so that you can put them in the race. I will create a forerunner category. And I'll say that this is forerunner. And I'm just going to say 400. My bibs are 400 to 410 for my forerunners. I'll click save. And you can see that it says it has the F, so that denotes that it's a forerunner. If I've gone into here and I edit the group and I say I don't have a password, it gives this big red exclamation point, and it says ACA Live is enabled, but a password isn't there. So I can go and I can put my password back in. We have the ability to sync. So this is just for your convenience, so we can start a sync. It'll tell you when it was synced at first sync, and then it'll give you your countdown for your next for your minute interval. And then I'll just do it a little early. And you've got your first and second pulse. So if you need that for your TD report or for your timing report, you've got access to that, and that persists, so you don't have to copy it down right at the morning bell. So Vance, it is an Excel file for uploading, importing race participants in dTris 3. So now we've got the racers, we can then now start the run. So I'll say that I want to create run 1, and you can pick whichever order you would like. So you have bib order, reverse bib order, or you can pick measures. If you pick measures, you can select the measures file, and if there's any weird changes to how measures was ordered them, it'll pick that up. But we'll just do bib order for both of these. I'll say create run. If I did something wrong, I can just delete the run. You can only delete the run before racers have had run times. If a racer has started, you can't delete the run anymore. And then I can hit the play button to continue the run. So now we are on the timing screen. You've got your racers that are in gate. The next one is on deck, and then you have your up next. You've got the timer, the countdown timer for how long your race interval is. I can hit F11 to make my displays in ACA Live active. And then we've got a bunch of buttons down at the bottom. These are your sort of hotkeys. You can either use the hotkey, so an F1 to put someone in gate, or you can press the F1 key on your keyboard. So I'm just going to start a racer. And really, if a race is going correctly and you have no changes in bibs or anything like that, the computer will do pretty much the entire thing for you. So there's not much that as a timer you need to do. So let's say my hotkeys are not liking, it's not liking my hotkeys right now. So let's say that that actually wasn't Anna that just went out of the gate, and that was the starter accidentally bumped the wand. You can say false start, or you can type hit Control S, and that'll put them back into the gate. Now we have that Anna went out of the gate, but your starter says actually that was Olivia that just went out of the gate, bib 3. We can do same start, so that is Alt S, and that switches who's in gate with who was just pulled out of, or who just left the gate, so it'll automatically switch them. If you have then we can say, oh, we have the next racer on. Racer 3 has fallen, but they're not, we don't think that they're actually going to stop. They're going to keep going, so we need to do an overtake. So that is a F5 or overtake, and you'll say that bib 2 is overtaking bib 3, and that automatically swaps them. And then we can finish racer 2. So we've got the run time, and then you get your top finish order. And then we can finish racer 3. And then I will finish. Then a patroller goes through the finish line. But we know, because we have this sort of error, that Hillary was below minimum time. So I can say that was actually a false finish. So I'm going to say Control F, and that'll put them right back onto the hill with the correct time that they were provided. And then we can actually finish them. Just making sure I'm going through all of the things. If you have Racer 5, they're not actually part of, or they just aren't there. We can say F1, and then we can put Racer, let's say Racer 7 in the gate, and I can say load bib, and then that's put 7 into the gate. If, for example, we find that your time for your interval isn't working the way that we expect it to, and your chief of course says, you know what, we can't do 30, we need to go up to 45, you can say change limit or F3, and you can change the start interval, so we can say 40, hit save, and then on the next iteration it'll move to 40. If a racer falls and gets help so that they aren't in the race, you can right click them and say DNF, or you can do F9 and put in bib 7. One thing that we've added to dTris 3, which wouldn't be applicable to your typical race, but if you are doing a fun race at your hill, we have the ability, so we have F1 in gate, and then we have Control F1, which is add racer. So if you say Control F1, this actually just adds a brand new racer to the race and adds them to the run and just lets you start running with them. So I'll say this is bib 99. And I can say add racer. And then I'm the one in gate, and that racer can start. The last one that I will show is we have the same thing for finish as well. So as we had the same start, which, the racer that started isn't actually the racer we expected. It was the racer that was in gate. You can do a same start. We have this ability to do a same finish. So that is an Alt F, or you can just say same finish. And that swaps who just finished with who was still on course. And if we go to the live timing site and I go to test races, all of this racer data is being shown on the live timing site. It doesn't, the way the system's set up is that if there is an error in dTris, it's not going to cause any issues. So to show that, I'm going to make the password not be what it should be. And now if I finish a racer, you come up with a little notification, and that's all that you ever see if there's an error with the system. So it doesn't crash the system, it doesn't provide any changes, it just, the timing keeps going. So we finished all of our racers. We'll hit F10 or exit. Are you sure you want to close? Yes. Yep. I like that. I will tell you how you can do a rerun. So, Cameron needed a rerun. So I can just say F1 and I'll say bib99. And it says, do you want to restart that racer? And you hit OK. And then that puts them right back in. So now you've done all of your racers. This gives you some information. So how many racers haven't been finished, how many racers have been finished. We can click on finish run. So this gives you information. So if you have just sort of hopped around in all the racers that you have had were running and you didn't DNS at that time, we have this tab that says racers have no run results or status. So you can scroll down to the bottom and you can say that I just want to DNS all these racers. And then it automatically DNSs them. You need to have no race. Every racer has to have a result before you can finish a run and start the next one. If your race administrator wants you to have the disqualifications set in the data before it goes to them, we have this DSQ tab. So you get your DSQ results, and then you go through and you say, yep, bib 4, they DSQ'd. Bib 2, yep, they DSQ'd. And this doesn't do it automatically. It's only when you finish the run. So here I can just say, oh yeah, no, it wasn't bib 2, it was actually bib 3. And then I can click finish run. We can go down to racer data. And this allows for you to look at your codex or your group and see all of the data that we have. So this has all of your racer data, the times that they were provided. I can order it by rank. And you can see all of this. If there are changes that need to happen, you can make your modifications to the time of day, and it automatically recalculates and makes all of the changes. We can create run 2. So this allows you to, so now you can do bib order, reverse bib order, finish order, reverse finish order. So you can do, say, finish order, and then this is the number of racers to reverse. So if you are reversing the top 15 racers, you can say this is going to be 15, but we didn't finish that many, so I'm just going to say 0 for right now. And then we have these check boxes, whether you want to include did not start or did not finish and disqualified racers in your run 2. We can say create run. And then we've got our next one, and this tells you exactly how you did it. So finish order, including DNF disqualifications and including DNS. If that isn't correct, just like before, you can delete the run. So I'm just going to delete this run for right now because we're running a little bit behind schedule. But what we have is we now have run 1 done, and depending on your race administrator or the race that you're running, you might want to have run 1 times exported first, or both of them in the same file. So if we go to export, you can select which group. So I'll select the women, and then you can pick either a measures or a CSV export. So if you pick measures, it will automatically export with the right file name that can be loaded into dTris, or into measures, sorry. So we can click save, and then once it's done its export, it'll say the women's export was put in. If you have 2 races, or if you have 2 races running at the same time in the same hill, you can pick this second group and do your export. The other type that we have is CSV, which just dumps all of the data that we have so that it's easy to be manipulated by Excel or by your race administrator for results. So, and then if you would like, you can go to the exit and exit the run. So does anyone have any questions about measures or dTris? Yes. So FIS has a great cheat sheet for doing it, or for doing a EET time. Let me just find it. We are in the process of writing a new EET calculation for dTris 3. But if you want to just download this EET calculator, it will allow for your for you to do your calculation for lost time. And then FIS, if you just Google FIS skiing timing data, yep. And I'll make sure to put a link to it in the email. The email that has this video attached to it. And the other question that I missed was, can you drag racers for overtake in dTris? And currently, no, we don't have the drag and drop functionality, but that is something that's on our to-do list. Vance? Sorry, Vance. I cannot hear you. Dave. Good. Yes. So ski cross in dTris 3 is on our priority list. It's in between EET and dual timing right now. And yes, so ski cross, for anyone who doesn't know, measures in dTris does all of the calculations for a ski cross event. And in dTris 2, you can actually run the heats and get the output of the ladder, and then load of that information into measures for XML export up to FIS. So one of the things that we are currently working on is getting the ladder and the heat system set up within dTris 3. Vance asked if we have the utility menus as we do in dTris 2. So in the utilities of dTris 2, it was EET, which is coming. I think the other one was editing racers, which can be done in the data field. And if there is any other things in the utility menu that I can't think of off the top of my head, let me know. But I'm pretty sure we got rid of that utilities menu because it seemed to be a catch-all. Print. So if you are wanting to do printing for a race, the easiest way currently would just be to export it as a CSV file, and it would be ordered for your system, or ordered. So let me go to export, and I'll pick women, and I'll pick CSV. And then if I just open the CSV file, oh, I swear this had rank. I will get back to you, Vance, for finish order printing on dTris 3. Perfect. Okay. Thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions, you know where to reach me. And thank you very much for taking your time.